The cold darkness of space stretched endlessly, broken only by distant stars and the faint hum of a damaged spaceship drifting near a dying sun. The ship was massive, elegant in design, yet scarred by battle. Its hull bore deep scorch marks, and several panels floated loose in the vacuum outside. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Alien crew members moved quickly, their eyes wide with fear and exhaustion. The ship's systems flickered, life support failing in several areas, and the alarm lights flashed urgently. At the center of the ship, a tall figure stood on the bridge. Her form was regal, almost luminous, with a crown-like crest framing her head. Her green eyes scanned the damage reports, calculating losses and survival chances. She was the alien queen, Lysera, and her mind raced faster than her heartbeat. The Vrex, a ruthless armada known for leaving nothing alive, had caught her fleet by surprise. Her own ships had fought bravely, but they were outnumbered, outgunned, and now out of options. Lysera's voice was calm but filled with urgency as she addressed her crew. "We cannot hold them much longer. Prepare the distress signal," she ordered. Her words carried authority, yet behind them was desperation. The crew moved with practiced precision, activating communications equipment that sent out a pulse across nearby star systems. The signal traveled through the void, encoded in an ancient interstellar language, one that only a few species could understand. It was a cry for help, a last hope for survival. Lysera added a special note, something unusual in distress transmissions. It mentioned human resilience, a species she had studied for decades. It was a gamble, but if there was any chance of survival, it had to be humans. Many light years away on Earth, the signal was received by a group of scientists monitoring space communications. Dr. Elena Morgan, a leading astrophysicist, stared at the sudden burst on her screen. She frowned, then turned to her colleagues. "This is unusual," she said, her voice steady but filled with curiosity. "The energy signature is strong, and the code, it's calling for humans." In the war room, military leaders debated the situation. Admiral Kane, a stern man with years of combat experience, paced in front of a holographic map of the galaxy. "Sending troops this far is dangerous," he said. "We don't even know what we're walking into. It could be a trap." Dr. Morgan shook her head. "No, this is genuine. The language is precise, the distress is real, and Lysera, she mentions human courage specifically. She knows our capabilities." The room fell silent. They had all read the reports about humans, our tenacity, our creativity, our unpredictability. Across the galaxy, humans were often underestimated. But history showed that when Earth's strongest warriors faced impossible odds, they could succeed where others failed. Finally, the Council agreed. A mission would be launched, not just any mission, but a team of Earth's strongest warriors, handpicked for courage, skill, and adaptability. Commander Rael was chosen to lead. A veteran of countless conflicts, Rael was known for his tactical brilliance and calm under pressure. Beside him, Sergeant Kira, a close combat expert whose speed and strength were legendary. Dr. Solon, a technology prodigy, would handle any technological challenges they faced in space. Together, they formed the core of the team, but other specialists were added, pilots, engineers, and sharpshooters, all the best Earth could offer. As preparations began, the team trained in zero-gravity simulations, strategy rooms, and combat scenarios. Every detail mattered. Each member understood the risk. They were venturing into unknown space to face an enemy known for leaving no survivors. Yet, there was excitement too, a chance to prove the strength of humanity, and perhaps to save an entire species from extinction. The launch day arrived. The human ship, sleek and heavily armed, rested on the edge of the orbital platform. Its engines glowed softly, ready to push the craft beyond Earth's atmosphere and into the vast unknown. Commander Rael inspected his team one last time. "Remember," he said, "we are not just soldiers. We are a symbol of Earth's strength. Today we carry the hopes of our planet and the trust of those who need us." Kira tightened her gloves and nodded, her eyes flashing with determination. Dr. Solon checked the ship's systems for the final time, making minor adjustments to ensure their technology could adapt to alien systems. The other members of the team secured their positions, hearts pounding, adrenaline rising. With a thunderous roar, the engines ignited, propelling the ship upward. The planet fell away beneath them, oceans, mountains, and cities shrinking into the distance. The team watched in silence as Earth became a small blue dot in the void. Commander Rael gave the signal. "Set course for the distress coordinates. Engage all systems." The ship accelerated, slicing through the darkness. Outside the windows, stars stretched into lines as the human crew entered faster than light travel. Each member felt a mixture of fear and anticipation. They had trained for this moment, but space was unpredictable, and the enemy they were about to face was merciless. Yet, the knowledge of Lysera's plea, her faith in human strength, filled them with courage. Deep in the Vrex-controlled sectors, distant sensors picked up a new blip on the radar. The enemy armada, unaware of the humans' arrival, continued its patrols and hunts. They had no idea that Earth's strongest warriors were now en route, ready to intervene, ready to change the balance of power. On Lysera's crippled flagship, the alien queen watched the stars beyond her viewport. Her mind raced, but a small spark of hope ignited. If humans answered her call, if they truly were as strong and clever as she believed, there might be a chance yet. For the first time since the Vrex attacked, she allowed herself to believe survival was possible. The message had been sent. The crew prepared, and the human ship surged through the void. The future was uncertain, the dangers unimaginable, but one truth shone clear. Earth's strongest warriors were on their way, and no matter what awaited them, humans would fight with courage, skill, and the determination that had always defined them. And so, the journey began, toward a distant star, toward an alien fleet in desperate need, and toward a battle that would test the limits of humanity itself. The human ship, Aegis Vanguard, emerged from faster-than-light travel into a star system scarred by battle. Debris floated silently, twisted fragments of alien ships drifting among asteroids. Smoke and fire marked where recent clashes had torn through space. Commander Rael gazed at the scene, his jaw tight. "Sensors show multiple life signs on the damaged ship," he said. "We have to move carefully. The enemy could still be near." On the bridge of the human ship, Lieutenant Taro monitored the readings. "Commander, the Virex fleet appears to have withdrawn, at least for now, but they could return at any moment." Rael nodded. "Then we make this quick. We board, we secure the crew, and we get out." The damaged flagship loomed ahead, a beautiful yet battered vessel. Its hull had been scorched in battle, and patches of its outer shell were missing. Red warning lights blinked weakly through cracked windows. Inside, Lysera paced her bridge. Her crew was exhausted, tending to injuries while attempting repairs. Every sensor ping reminded her of the Vrex threat. They were fast, merciless hunters, and the alien queen knew they could strike at any time. A small fleet of human escort ships detached from the Aegis Vanguard and moved into formation around the damaged flagship. Commander Rael sent a communication. "This is Commander Rael of Earth. We received your distress signal. We are here to help. Please, we mean no harm." The transmission was received, and the bridge fell silent. Lysera's eyes widened. Her heart had been heavy with despair for days, yet this message felt different. Earth, humans. She had read reports of their courage and ingenuity, but she had never seen proof. Could they truly be here? Could a single human ship carry the strength needed to save them? Her second-in-command, Commander Vera, spoke cautiously. Your species. Can we trust them? Lysera's gaze hardened. We have no choice but to hope. Prepare for docking. We cannot remain exposed much longer. The docking was tense. The human team suited up in reinforced armor, moving like shadows through the corridors of their own ship. Kira led the boarding party, her muscles coiled. And ready. The doors opened, and the humans stepped onto the alien vessel. The crew froze at the sight, tall, strong, determined, and unlike anything they had ever encountered. Kira offered a reassuring nod, her eyes calm. Lysera met them in the main hall, her posture proud yet cautious. I am Queen Lysera, she said, her voice resonating with authority. You have answered my call. Tell me, what brings humans to our aid? Commander Rael bowed slightly. Your message reached Earth. We do not abandon those in need. We are here to help you survive, and to fight alongside you, if necessary. A murmur of surprise ran through the alien crew. Never had they seen a species so willing to risk themselves for others. Humans were strange in many ways, but their courage was undeniable. The first challenge came quickly. Sensors picked up movement on the hull. A squad of Rex scouts was closing in. Rael raised his hand. Kira, cover the exits. Taro, prepare our defense systems. Lysera, get your crew to safety. The battle was sudden. The Rex scouts breached the outer corridor, firing energy pulses at the alien ship. Humans and aliens reacted together. Kira and her team moved with speed and precision, intercepting the attackers and neutralizing them with hand-to-hand combat and advanced weapons. Alien soldiers, inspired by the humans, followed suit, their fear replaced by determination. Dr. Solon worked quickly to stabilize the ship's failing systems. Life support is compromised in 3 sectors, he reported. We can reroute power, but we need full cooperation. Lysera nodded, directing her engineers to assist. Together, humans and aliens managed to stabilize critical systems just as another wave of Vrex reinforcements approached. Rael's tactical mind worked fast. We can't hold them here. We need to evacuate key personnel and retreat to a safer location. Kira led the evacuation squad, moving wounded crew members to human escort ships. Lysera coordinated with her remaining forces, her commands precise despite exhaustion. During the chaos, the humans demonstrated a combination of bravery, strategy, and creativity that astonished the aliens. They used small ship maneuvering, decoys, and unexpected tactics to outsmart the Vrex scouts. Each move was deliberate, calculated, and effective. Lysera watched in awe as the humans turned a desperate situation into a controlled retreat. Once the immediate threat passed, the crew gathered in the main hall. Lysera approached Commander Rael. Your people, they fight unlike any species I have encountered. Your courage, your strategy, it is remarkable. I see why you were chosen. Rael shook his head. We fight for what is right. Your crew needed help, and we do not abandon those in need. Together, we can survive this threat. Lysera allowed herself a small smile. Then let us begin our alliance. Her voice carried strength and hope, and the aliens around her felt it. For the first time in days, they felt a spark of hope, not just for survival, but for victory. The part ended with both species working together to prepare the ship for departure. Humans repaired systems, trained alien soldiers in new tactics, and coordinated a safe escape route through asteroid fields. Outside, the Vrex scouts regrouped, unaware that their prey now had allies unlike any they had faced before. As the human fleet escorted Lysera's flagship away from immediate danger, Commander Rael looked out at the stars. This is only the beginning, he said. Kira stood beside him, a grin on her face despite the tension. Then let's make it count, she replied. In that moment, a bond was formed. Humans and aliens united by courage, hope, and a shared goal. Together, they would face the darkness, and together, they might just survive. The stars ahead were dangerous, the path uncertain, but the humans had arrived, and their presence had changed everything. The human and alien crews had barely escaped the Vrek scouts, yet the danger was far from over. Commander Rail knew that survival depended not only on courage, but on preparation. The crippled flagship floated in a relatively safe orbit near a small planet, giving both crews time to regroup. The hum of engines was constant, a reminder that time was precious. Every moment wasted could bring the Vreks back to strike again. Lysera paced her bridge, observing the humans as they moved among her crew. Their confidence and calm reassured her. She could see that they were leaders by nature, skilled and disciplined, yet approachable. "We must learn from them," she said to her second-in-command, Commander Vera. "They are not like other species. Their strength is more than physical. It is in their minds, their strategy, their courage." Commander Rael gathered his team and the alien officers in a large hangar converted into a training area. The room was filled with holographic displays, simulated weapons, and combat dummies designed to train both species together. "Listen carefully," Rael began. "We are not here to replace your skills, but to enhance them. Together we can fight smarter, faster, and stronger than the Vreks expect." Kira stepped forward, demonstrating hand-to-hand combat techniques. Her movements were fast, precise, and fluid. Alien soldiers watched closely, some skeptical at first. Kira noticed a few hesitant glances and offered a smile. "It's not about strength alone," she said. "It's about timing, positioning, and using what you have. Humans are not the biggest or fastest, but we survive because we think differently." Dr. Solon took charge of technology training. He introduced alien engineers to Earth equipment designed for efficiency and adaptability. "We can integrate your ships with human systems," he explained. "It will make your fleet faster, more coordinated, and harder to predict. But you must be willing to try new methods." Some of the alien crew hesitated, proud of their traditional ways. Lysera encouraged them, reminding them that survival required flexibility. As the days passed, humans and aliens trained together tirelessly. They shared knowledge about weapons, tactics, and defense strategies. Aliens taught humans their unique, energy-based combat techniques, while humans shared stealth maneuvers and quick decision-making strategies. Slowly, barriers of language, culture, and pride began to fade. Bonds formed as soldiers laughed over mistakes and celebrated small victories. During a simulated battle exercise, Rael gave orders that initially seemed risky to the aliens. "Split the units," he instructed. "Diversionary teams go left, while main forces move right. Kira, take a small squad behind enemy lines. Dr. Solon, provide support from above." Some aliens frowned, fearing they would be overwhelmed. Yet, as the exercise unfolded, Rael's strategy worked perfectly. The alien soldiers were amazed. "They think differently," one muttered. "Humans see opportunities we cannot." Lysera observed the transformation of her crew. The confidence she saw in them was no longer the desperation of survivors. It was the determination of warriors. Even the youngest crew members, who had once hidden in fear, began to move with purpose and courage. Humans had not only shared tactics and technology, but had inspired hope. Rael took a moment to speak to Lysera privately. "Your crew is impressive," he said. "They have skill and honor, but they need confidence and trust in themselves. That is where humans can help." Lysera nodded. "They have survived the impossible before," she replied. "Now, with your guidance, they can survive the Vreks. You have given them more than skills. You have given them hope." Small strikes against the Vreks became the next step. Using their combined knowledge, humans and aliens carried out stealth missions to disable enemy supply lines and gather intelligence. Each success boosted morale and strengthened trust. The Vreks were surprised. Attacks came from directions they never anticipated. Humans had taught their new allies to think creatively, to exploit weaknesses, and to act with boldness that few species dared. One evening, as stars glittered beyond the hangar windows, Kira and a group of alien soldiers sparred, with training weapons. Laughter echoed, a sound almost foreign on a war-torn ship. "You humans fight with fire," one alien said. "Not just anger, but spirit." Kira smiled. "That's what keeps us alive. That and teamwork. Alone we are strong, but together we are unstoppable." Lysera joined them, observing quietly. She realized that humans had taught something her crew could not learn from books or simulations: courage in the face of the impossible. They had taught them to trust each other, to innovate, and to adapt. This alliance was no longer a temporary partnership. It was a bond forged in fire and determination. The part ended with the Allied fleet preparing for their first coordinated attack on the Vreks. Ships hummed with new energy as engineers integrated. Human technology, weapons systems were upgraded, and soldiers trained late into the night. Commander Rael addressed both humans and aliens one final time before departure. "Today we test what we have learned. We go into battle together, not just to survive, but to show the Vreks that courage, intelligence, and unity are stronger than fear and destruction. Trust each other, fight with honor, and remember, humans did not come this far to fail. Neither will any of you." The Allied crew nodded, their faces filled with resolve. Outside, the stars stretched infinitely, a canvas for the trials to come. The Vreks were still out there, watching, hunting, but they would face something they had never faced before. A fleet united by hope, courage, and the strength of two species working as one. The Allied fleet drifted through the cold dark of space, silent but determined. Every ship carried scars of old battles, but their spirit was alive with new purpose. Humans and aliens now worked side by side, trusting each other with their lives. Commander Rael stood at the front of the Aegis Vanguard's bridge, his eyes fixed on the holographic star map glowing before him. Red markers showed the presence of the Vreks Armada near a populated star system. If the enemy broke through, millions of innocent lives would be lost. "This is it," Rael said quietly. His voice was calm, steady, but his team knew the weight behind it. "We strike here. If we fail, the Vreks will burn everything in their path." Lysera, standing tall beside him, nodded. Her green eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "My people will not run anymore. We fight together." The fleet surged forward, engines burning bright as they entered enemy territory. Moments later, the sensors screamed with warnings. Vreks ships filled the system, a massive wall of black steel and red fire. Their warships moved with mechanical precision, wings of fighters circling like predators. The enemy was stronger in numbers and weapons, but the humans had something the Vreks had never faced before: strategy built on creativity, risk, and adaptability. Rael took command. "Form 2 lines. Diversion ships, prepare to scatter. Kira, lead the boarding squad. Solon, keep our systems linked to Lysera's fleet." The battle began with an explosion of light. Energy beams and missiles streaked across the void, colliding in blinding bursts. The Allied fleet moved quickly, guided by Rael's commands. Human and alien ships weaved through enemy fire, dodging attacks that would have destroyed them if not for their training. Kira's squad launched from the Aegis, Vanguard in small boarding crafts racing toward a massive Vreks cruiser. Her heart pounded, but her hands were steady. As the craft docked, Kira and her team burst through the hatch, weapons raised. The Vreks soldiers inside were tall, armored, and merciless. The fight was brutal, but Kira's speed and strength carried her forward. She struck with precision, knocking enemies down while shouting orders to her squad. The aliens fighting beside her followed with courage, inspired by her boldness. Meanwhile, Dr. Solon worked furiously at his console, his hands moving faster than the eye could follow. "They have a superweapon on one of their flagships," he warned. "If it fires, our entire fleet will be destroyed in minutes." Rael's eyes narrowed. "Find a weakness. We'll buy you the time you need." The Vrex unleashed their weapon, a giant cannon charging with dangerous energy. The glow spread across the dark sky, threatening to unleash destruction. Panic rippled through the Allied fleet. But Rael raised his voice, steady and strong. "Stay focused. We can stop this." He ordered half the fleet to engage the enemy head-on, drawing their fire. The other half moved silently, hidden in the asteroid belt. Nearby, at the perfect moment, Rael gave the order. "Now!" The hidden fleet burst from the rocks, striking the Vrex from behind. Chaos spread among the enemy ranks. The aliens had never expected such a tactic, so bold, so unpredictable. The humans had shown their allies how to fight with surprise, and it worked. On the cruiser, Kira fought her way to the control room, disabling power systems and setting charges. "The ship is going down," she called through her comms. "Get clear." She and her team rushed back to their craft as alarms screamed and flames spread through the enemy vessel. Moments later, the cruiser exploded in a ball of fire, lighting up the battlefield. Dr. Solon shouted triumphantly. "I've found the weakness. Their cannon has a cooling system on the lower deck. If we disable it, the weapon will overload and shut down." Rael turned to Lysera. "Can your fastest ships get in close?" Lysera's crest gleamed as she smiled fiercely. "Yes. With your humans to guide us, we will not fail." Together, human pilots and alien fighters dove toward the flagship, dodging heavy fire. The cannon glowed brighter, seconds from unleashing destruction. Kira's squad, fresh from their victory, redeployed with reckless speed. They breached the flagship, battling their way through corridors filled with Vrex warriors. Every second counted. Explosions rocked the ship and smoke filled the halls. But Kira would not stop. She and her team reached the cooling system and planted charges. "Charges set!" Kira shouted. "Get us out!" The humans and aliens sprinted back to their crafts as the cooling system exploded behind them. Flames tore through the flagship's lower decks, and the massive cannon flickered, then died in silence. The weapon had been disabled. Cheers erupted across the Allied fleet. The morale that had been low just hours ago now burned brighter than any star. For the first time, the Vrex were forced into retreat. Their ships pulled back, regrouping in the distance. The battle was not yet won, but the Allies had achieved what few thought possible. They had faced the Vrex head-on and lived. Lysera stood on the bridge, her gaze on Rael. "You risked everything, and yet you saved us. Your tactics, your bravery, it is unlike anything I have seen. Today you did not just protect my people, you inspired them." Rael gave a small nod, his face serious but his eyes steady. "This was only the first battle. They will come again, stronger. But as long as we stand together, we have a chance." Kira returned to the ship, armor scorched, face smeared with dust but her grin wide. "That was just the beginning," she said, exhaustion mixing with pride. The fleet drifted among the wreckage of the battle, the stars still glowing brightly around them. For the first time since the Vrex attacked, the alien crew celebrated. Humans had fought by their side, not as strangers but as allies, as friends. And though the war was far from over, hope now burned like a fire that could not be put out. The battlefield was quiet now, only scattered wreckage floating in the endless dark. The Allied fleet gathered near a calm star, repairing damage and mourning their dead. The first major victory against the Vrex had brought hope, but Rael knew it would not last long. The enemy would return, stronger and angrier than before. On the flagship's command deck, Lysera stood with Rael, Kira, and Dr. Solon. "We have proven that the Vrex can be beaten," she said, her voice steady but heavy, with responsibility. "But this is only the beginning. We must strike at their heart, or they will never stop." Rael nodded. "Agreed. If we sit still, they will surround us. We need to move first, hit them where they least expect it." Dr. Solon projected a map of the enemy's territory. A glowing red mark pulsed at the center. "This is the Vrex command station. It controls their fleets, coordinates their weapons, and houses their war council. Destroy it, and the Vrex will be thrown into chaos." The plan was bold. The station was buried deep in enemy space, guarded by countless ships and defenses. The idea of attacking it made many alien officers uneasy. Commander Vera stepped forward, his voice sharp. "This is madness. We are already stretched thin. Such an attack could destroy us all." Rael did not flinch. "Sometimes, the only way to win is to risk everything. If we keep running, the Vrex will crush us one system at a time. But if we strike first, we change the war." The room fell into silence, until Lysera finally spoke. "I believe in the human strategy. Their courage has saved us before. I will support this plan." "Not," everyone agreed. Unknown to the humans, a small faction of Lysera's officers had secretly been communicating with the Vrex. They were tired of war, convinced that surrender was the only way to survive. In secret, they sent messages promising to betray the humans in exchange for mercy. That night, Rael and Kira walked through the halls of the flagship. "Something feels wrong," Kira muttered. "Some of the crew avoid us. They won't even meet our eyes." Rael's instincts were sharp. "Keep watching. If there's betrayal brewing, we'll find it." The next day, Dr. Solon intercepted a strange signal buried in the communication lines. His fingers flew across his console. "Commander, someone is sending hidden messages to the Vrex." Rael's face hardened. "Can you trace it?" "Yes," Solon said. "It's coming from inside this ship." With Kira at his side, Rael led a quiet investigation. They moved through the flagship's shadowed corridors, questioning soldiers and checking logs. At last, they found the traitors, 3 alien officers attempting to sabotage the engines. Kira leapt forward before they could finish, disarming them with swift strikes. Rael confronted the leader. "You would sell out your queen, your people, and us?" The alien spat bitter words. "You cannot win. The Vrex are too strong. Better to kneel and live than fight and die." Rael's voice was cold but steady. "You're wrong. Humanity has faced impossible odds before. We survive not because we bow, but because we fight. And now you'll see what that means." The traitors were brought before Lysera. Her expression was sorrowful but firm. "You would have doomed us all," she said. "Your weakness almost cost us everything. You will be confined until this war is done." The discovery of betrayal shook the crew, but it also strengthened their bond with the humans. Many saw now that the humans were not only brave in battle, but clever in uncovering lies. Trust grew deeper. With the traitors dealt with, Rael returned to planning. "We strike the command station, but we cannot attack it like any normal fleet. The Vrex expect direct battles. We will use surprise." He explained his strategy. The fleet would split into 3 groups. One would act as bait, drawing the Vrex into open battle. Another would circle around using asteroid fields as cover. The third, led by Rael, Kira, and Lysera herself, would infiltrate the station with a small strike team, planting explosives to cripple its core. The plan was dangerous, but the crew felt new confidence. They had seen human ingenuity before, and now they believed in it. Lysera stood before her people. "The humans do not fear the impossible. They dare to dream of victory, where others see only defeat. With them, we will strike the enemy's heart." Preparations began. Engineers worked through sleepless nights, combining human and alien technology to give their ships faster engines and stronger shields. Soldiers trained side by side, rehearsing maneuvers again and again until they moved as one unit. Even the youngest recruits carried themselves with newfound pride. Kira spent her time drilling soldiers in close combat. "The Vreks fight with power," she told them, "but they do not understand adaptability. Be faster, be unexpected. That's how you survive." Dr. Solon oversaw weapon upgrades, fusing alien energy cannons with human targeting systems. "This will give us an edge," he explained. "Accuracy and speed. The Vreks won't see it coming." And Rael moved among them all, calm and steady, offering words of encouragement. He reminded the soldiers of Earth's history, of battles where humans had overcome overwhelming odds. His voice carried across the halls. "The Vreks believe they cannot be defeated. We will prove them wrong. We will show them that courage and unity are stronger than fear." The fleet was ready. Engines roared to life, glowing bright against the stars. The soldiers stood at their stations, their hearts heavy with fear but burning with determination. Lysera looked at Rael one last time before departure. "This plan, it is dangerous." Rael gave a small smile. "All the best plans are." As the fleet surged forward into the black unknown, every soldier knew what was at stake. Betrayal had nearly broken them, but now they were united stronger than ever. Ahead lay the Vreks command station, the heart of the enemy, the most dangerous place in the galaxy. And there, humans and aliens together would fight the battle that could decide the fate of them all. The stars around the Vreks command station glowed with fire. Massive rings of steel floated in the void, bristling with cannons and guarded by thousands of enemy ships. It was a fortress unlike any other, impossible to breach, impossible to destroy. Yet into this storm the Allied fleet came, engines blazing. Rael stood on the bridge of the flagship beside Queen Lysera. His face was calm, but his eyes carried the weight of the moment. "This is it," he said softly. "The fate of every world rests here." Lysera nodded. "Then let us make history together." The Allied fleet split exactly as planned. The first group charged forward, drawing the Vreks ships into battle. Explosions tore across the stars as energy bolts ripped through the void. The second group vanished into the asteroid fields, circling unseen toward the enemy's flank. And the third, Rael, Kira, Lysera, and a small strike team, moved in stealth toward the command station itself. Their ship was small and fast, cloaked with technology crafted by Dr. Solon. If the Vreks detected them too soon, all would be lost. Inside the shuttle, Kira checked her weapons. Her voice was steady, but her jaw was tight. "We get in, plant the charges, and fight our way out. No hesitation." Rael placed a hand on her shoulder. "Stay sharp. Trust each other. That's how we win." The shuttle slipped past the enemy lines, weaving between burning wreckage and patrol ships. At last, the massive shape of the command station filled the view. Its black towers stretched like claws across the void. Lights glimmered on its surface like a sleeping beast. The shuttle landed inside a hangar. Alarms instantly screamed. The Vreks had detected them. Doors slid open, and armored enemy soldiers poured in. Their weapons glowed, their roars filled the chamber. Kira was the first to move. She dashed forward, striking with speed and precision. Her blade flashed, cutting through enemy lines. Rael fired bursts of plasma, covering the team as they pushed deeper. Lysera fought alongside them, her staff glowing with energy, striking down any who dared approach. "Go!" Rael shouted. "We don't stop until the core!" Corridors shook as battles raged. The strike team pressed forward, planting charges along the way. Explosions echoed behind them, cutting off Vreks reinforcements. The deeper they went, the more resistance they faced. The Vreks seemed endless, yet the humans refused to slow. At last, they reached the central chamber. The core of the station glowed with blinding energy, a massive sphere pulsing like a heartbeat. Around it floated consoles and defense turrets, guarded by the strongest of the Vrex warriors. The enemy leader stepped forward, taller, stronger, his armor black as shadow. His voice was a deep growl. "Foolish humans, you think you can end the Vrex with tricks? You will die here, as all enemies of the swarm do." Rael raised his weapon. "We're not here to die. We're here to finish this war." The chamber erupted in chaos. Blades clashed, weapons roared, sparks filled the air. Kira moved like lightning, her strikes breaking enemy defenses. Lysera fought with fierce elegance, her staff crackling with energy. Rael battled the leader himself, their weapons colliding in bursts of light. The Vrex commander was powerful, each strike shaking the floor. But Rael's strength was not in brute force, it was in determination, in refusing to yield. Blow after blow, he pushed forward, his breath steady, his eyes unshaken. At last, with a final strike, Rael drove his blade into the enemy's chest. The Vrex commander staggered, his roar echoing through the chamber before he fell. "Charges ready," Kira called, planting the last explosive on the glowing core. The sphere pulsed wildly, alarms screaming across the station. Rael tapped his comm. "Dr. Solon, detonation in 2 minutes. Get the fleet clear." Outside, the battle raged on. The Allied fleets fought desperately, holding the Virex at bay. Dr. Solon's voice rang through every channel. "All ships, retreat to safe distance. The core is about to blow." The strike team raced back to the hangar. Enemy soldiers poured after them, desperate to stop their escape. Rael covered the rear, firing until his weapon burned hot in his hands. Kira cut down the last group blocking their way, and the team dove into the shuttle. Engines roared as they blasted out of the hangar. Behind them, the command station shook violently, light bursting from its cracks. The Allied fleet watched as the impossible happened. The massive fortress began to collapse, its core tearing itself apart. One blinding explosion followed another, until the entire station burst in a wave of fire that lit up the stars. Cheers erupted across the comms. Alien soldiers shouted in victory, their voices filled with joy and disbelief. "The command station is destroyed! The Vrex are broken!" On the shuttle, Rael sank into his seat, exhausted but alive. Kira sat beside him, breathing hard, her face lit with a tired smile. Lysera stood tall, her eyes shining with hope. "This war is not over," she said softly. "But today, we have given the galaxy a chance to live free." Rael looked out at the burning wreckage, his voice firm. "The Vrex thought they could never be defeated. But they were wrong. Humanity has shown them that no enemy is too strong, no wall too high. When we stand together, we are unstoppable." The Allied fleet gathered around them, ships forming a proud formation. For the first time in generations, the stars felt safe. The galaxy had seen the courage of Earth's warriors, and it would never forget. As silence returned to the void, Lysera turned to Rael. "Your people are few compared to the countless stars, yet your spirit shines brighter than any sun. This victory belongs to all of us, but the spark that lit it came from humanity." Rael gave a small, tired smile. "Then let's keep that spark alive." And with that, the fleet sailed home, carrying with them the story of a battle that would echo across history. The day humans stood at the edge of the galaxy and proved once again that they were the warriors who turned despair into hope. The war was not fully won, but the tide had turned. And wherever the Vrex still lurked, they now knew one unshakable truth: humans would never stop fighting.